All right. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us on this week's edition of the Arkansas Broadband Leaders Network, or ABLN. Glad to see everyone on this Friday of spring break week. So thanks for joining us. We have a packed schedule today with some really great information and a really good presentation for the second half for content. So let's go ahead and get started. As always, we'll have some updates from our team on all things broadband here in the state of Arkansas. Then we'll have a presentation today from the lovely folks at UA Cossetado on the new Arkansas Fiber Academy program. That is now the 5th program in AFA, so we're super excited about that. Be able to impact more lives across the state with what we're doing in broadband. So excited to hear about that. And then, as always, we'll have discussion and Q&A. So right out of the gate, this what you're looking at here are the participation results in our BEAD program round 2. So just to sort of sit rep for folks today where we are in the infrastructure grant program for the state, we've completed round 1. We have now completed round 2. And we actually have so many applications. It has forced us to have a round 3 in our program. Okay, so and we use terminology like round 1, round 2, round 3. They're not distinct, separate rounds like you would think. They're sort of interrelated together. So that's why we can't openly say, hey, okay, in round 1, these were all of our winners and where they are and which ISPs and what locations. And the same thing for round 2. Here's the ISPs that won and all the locations and those types of things. We have to wait until the process is complete because there's ongoing competition in our program. And we'll talk about that more in a second. But our round 2 has wrapped. And these are the participation results, 746 applications. 91% of the applications that came in were competitive, meaning they overlapped in some manner. Okay, 96% of all round 2 locations available in the state received at least one application. And almost 80%, 79% of all round 2 locations available received applications from 2 or more ISPs. Okay, we've had really, really good competition in Arkansas so far. It's a really great sign, and we're going to look at on the next slide at a little more detail from round 2. So round 2, from a holistic viewpoint, 30,000 feet, these are the aggregate results. So in round 2, we had 23 applicants or ISPs with at least one preliminary selected application. Okay, which means they're on the road to winning a grant award from our team, totaling 179 winning applications in round 2. Okay, round 2 covered over 40,000 locations across Arkansas, representing 48% of all the eligible locations in the BEAD program in the state. The total grant amount figure for those 40,000 plus locations is just north of $223 million. Accounting for about 22% of our total BEAD program funding, which boils down to an average grant request per location in the applications that were selected at $5,500. Okay, 97% of all locations preliminary selected in round 2 have a 100% fiber project attached to them. Okay, so the aggregate results out of round 2, we were able to cover 48% of our locations for only 22% of our budget. That's how much competition we have in this program, again, which is really great. So if we combine rounds 1 and 2 together, so far, here's what we're looking at. So 271 applications across the state, what we call preliminarily selected. There's some verbiage issues here. We can't really come out and say awarded because it's a process. Right? And technically it's not official until the federal government has approved it, until the Arkansas General Assembly has approved it, and we actually execute the grant agreement. So until all of that happens, we say preliminarily selected. Okay, so 271 applications preliminary selected, combining rounds 1 and 2, covering almost 48,000 locations across the state, representing 57% of the locations available. Nearly $250 million in grant fund accounted for, with a $5,200 average grant request per location across the state so far. Again, with 97% of locations being subject to a 100% fiber award. So cumulatively through rounds 1 and 2, 57% of our locations for only 24% of our budget. Really great numbers, some of the best in the country. So again, we should all be really excited about what this means for the state moving forward. Here's our immediate timeline looking at the BEAD program. Again, we have so many applications that we're having a round 3. Okay, when we initially put this project together and we're designing it out, we thought that we would have, we anticipated having sort of a round 1, which feeds into a round 2. We've talked about that. And then, with what was left, we'd go do negotiations. We have so much interest and so much competition, we've had to have a round 3 now. Okay, again, we should all be really excited about that. That'll take place, we think, around April 15th. We'll start that process. And then we're going to publicly release all the statewide awards, right? We've talked about how we can't do it kind of in the middle of the process. Think about it like a football game. We're basically now in the third quarter, okay, of the football game, and the game's not over yet. So we can't put out a final score until the game's over, but we're getting there. So in June, we expect to release a statewide list of all of our preliminary selections, okay? We would submit that list to the federal government for their approval July 4th. That's our goal, which would be 3 months ahead of schedule. So not only do we have tons of competition, but we're also doing it ahead of schedule, which is great. And then once the federal government would approve our projects, we would come back and get Arkansas General Assembly approval through the legislature. Then we would be able to execute grant agreements with our ISPs, and then hopefully we want shovels in the ground before the end of the year on this program. So that's what we're looking ahead to, and I wanted to give everyone a preview of our timeline moving forward in the BEAD program. A note here, this is the first time many of you may be hearing this, but today is Lane Bailey's last day on our team. He has served as our deputy director. So Lane has been appointed to lead the Arkansas Forward initiative for the state of Arkansas, which is Governor Sanders' initiative to re-envision state government. He'll be working on leveraging new technology and trying to cut through red tape and those types of things through the Arkansas Forward initiative. So he's going to lead that for the state. Again, today is his last day with us. He served as our deputy director for nearly 2 years. He's done a great job for us, getting us into the 21st century with a lot of our processes and what we have going on here. He's been a great leader on our team, but most importantly, he's a really good guy and a great family man. So please join us in thanking Lane for his service to the state, our office, and the broadband mission that we are on to make our state 100% fully connected with reliable, affordable, high-speed internet. And so again, thank you, Lane, for your service. If you want to come off, Lane, real quick and just say hi to the folks.
Oh, I appreciate that, Glenn. It's been a great 2 years, and delivering broadband to everybody in the state, which is what we're going to do, is an all hands on deck endeavor. And everybody on this call has really stood up, and we've worked together. I've been traveling throughout the country, and when I talk about where I'm from, the Arkansas program and the community is the envy out of all the 50 states, and what we're accomplishing here because of all of you. And I've really enjoyed working here, being a project manager and being a member of the team. Glenn has built a deep bench, and we're in an excellent position to execute this. And I'm really looking forward to watching all this get built out. So thanks for having me. And I'm not going far. I'm just going to be down the road and easy to find. So best of luck. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Lane, for that. And of course, we wish you well. Something new that we're going to try to do on these calls, we're calling it latest broadband news. And so we're going to try to look for national issues, state issues, and local issues. So if you have something, please send it our way. We'll add it on our board here. Latest broadband news, one national story. Ms. Ariel Roth had her confirmation hearing yesterday before the Senate Commerce Committee. She has been nominated to lead the NTIA, National Telecommunications and Information Administration, which is the entity within U.S. Commerce that administers the BEAD program and all the DE programs at the federal level. So her initial confirmation hearing took place yesterday. There's a link to an article by the Benton Institute for you if you want. Again, anyone that's new on the call, following these calls, we do send an email communication to you that includes the PowerPoint deck and all the information with notes. And so that's there for you to click on and read through that. We'll note, during the confirmation hearing yesterday, Senator Markey of Massachusetts actually did reference, very briefly, but he did reference the fact that Arkansas had announced our round 2 aggregate results this week. So good publicity for the state of Arkansas in the confirmation hearing yesterday. All right, with that, we'll turn it over to Cam this morning for updates from Digital Opportunity Manager. Good morning, Cam.
Hey, good morning, Glenn. Good morning, everyone across the state. Brief updates from me this morning. We've been working really hard to get the RFPs out, and we are, again, in a good position, reiterating Lane and Glenn's leadership has been great on this opportunity for the state. And that's really it for me. Look for updates from us in the coming soon. I could skip to the next slide, Glenn. I want to pass it over to our guest from the University of Arkansas at Cossatot. And I'll pass it to Dr. Steve Cole, the chancellor at the university, and they're going to give us an overview of their exciting new program at the Arkansas Fiber Academy. How you doing, Dr. Cole?
I'm doing fine, Cam. Thanks. I hope you guys can hear me and hope you can see me. Are we good? Cam, can you hear me?
Yes.
Wonderful. Well, and I'm excited to be here, and so many of you on this meeting. Something that we're really, trying to do in Southwest Arkansas and at UA Cossatot is really help with the broadband initiatives that are taking place, not just in our local area, but across the region. And real quickly, before I turn it over to the guy who really knows what's going on, Marty Allen. Some of you guys know Marty from his time in the broadband world, and he's still in it. But the entire genesis of this started several years ago when we started having meetings at the Department of Commerce in Little Rock, where we had some really, really good industry partners like Irvin Cable Construction, who, they're helping install a lot of broadband around the state. We just, Mr. Klausmeyer with Klausmeyer and what they're doing with the trenching and the digging, but, and then also Aristotle, with the tower broadband. We started meeting a long time ago, wondering how we can help, find a trained workforce for Arkansas. And we actually started at UA Cossatot as part of that initiative several years ago. We started, actually, that was about a year and a half ago, we started our fiber lineman program to where we teach the aerial fiber training here at our UA Cossatot DeQueen campus. And it's been a very successful program, partnering with, with a lot of our companies, our corporations around the state and around the region, but also to partnering with Arkansas Broadband Office, with Department of Commerce, Stephanie Isaacs, Cody Waits. A lot of people were involved in that. And right now we're having a lot of success training a lot of the installers for the aerial lines that are going up around the state. And so we were actually looking, after that, we started saying, okay, we need a program, a little more advanced program that can enhance and complement what we're already doing. And so we had an opportunity back in October of 2023 to write a federal grant, trying to obtain grant dollars to start a fiber optic engineering program, network engineering, on our DeQueen campus. And even though that grant fell short, we were able to secure, with the help of Glenn with the Broadband Office and Stephanie Isaacs and a lot of other folks within the Department of Commerce, we were able to get this project funded. And we think it's just going to be a fantastic program. Many of you know Marty Allen. Marty was with the Diamond State Network for a while. Marty helped, it was his brainchild, part of his brainchild, to help the Southwest Arkansas Electric Cooperative start 4 States Fiber in our area in Southwest Arkansas, and that has just been, tremendous, a godsend to those of us who live way out in the woods and really didn't have access to real good broadband. And now we do, thanks to Marty. Well, Marty, he kind of went along, and I got him involved in this grant and helping write the grant and write the curriculum for the grant because we needed a professional. And lo and behold, Marty was getting ready to retire. So he retired for about, and I'll tell the story, he retired for about a week. He helped us write the grant, helped us write the curriculum, but he retired. And so the deal was, as soon as I remember it was muzzleloading season last year, he said, okay, he said, I'll help teach this program, but I have to deer hunt first. That's kind of the way we are in Arkansas. So he did that. And then we hired Marty full-time at UA Costatotte to help get this program up and going. And we are really excited because we're just a couple weeks away of launching the very first fiber optic engineering program around, and we're excited about that. And then with that introduction, I'm going to turn it over to Marty, and he is going to talk about the nuts and bolts of this program and how UA Costatotte is going to push it out to the students out there and how that's going to help our broadband economy. Marty?
Thank you, Dr. Cole. You hear me okay?
Absolutely.
All right, good deal. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. It's been exciting to be part of the explosion of broadband in Arkansas. And, I've never had as much fun as what I've had since 2017, rolling this out to the communities and stuff. And now to be part of training a new generation and getting a new demographic involved in operating this, it's exciting times for Arkansas and just people in rural areas with new opportunities. So I'm going to share my screen. I've got a little slide deck here that we'll go through to give you a good overview of the program and what we've got lined out so far. Just a second here. All right. Everybody see that okay? So
yes.
Introduction here with the grant. This program is completely free to the students. All they've got to do is invest their time, and they're going to come out of here with a good understanding of the fiber to the home environment, the architecture, the outside plant. Once the physical fiber gets there, these are the folks that are going to put light on the fibers, turn up new services, connect homes, businesses, schools. They're going to support that, troubleshoot it, install new services, and keep it running and just improve what we've already started here. It's not just about an internet connectivity, but what things can we do on top of that? How can we improve the lives of the people of our communities? We are requiring one industry certification, and thanks to Calix and Juniper partnered with us and others, they have given the students free access to all of their online educational resources, their virtual labs, and their instructors, whether in person or individual, virtually or in person. And then once they complete this, they're going to get a toolkit worth about around $1,000 worth of hand tools and test equipment that they're going to be able to take to their job. And we're not just teaching them the technical piece of this, we're preparing them for the workforce. And that means I'll get into some of the detail here in just a minute about what all we're going to cover, but they're going to get classroom training, hands-on virtual lab training, physical lab training, and 10 students max in this first program. And I'm happy to say that we have a full class. That is awesome. We've got 10 students signed up, anywhere from 2 high school students up to people who are mid-age. And it's going to be on the Locksburg campus. And if you're not familiar with where Locksburg is, it's down just north of Texarkana and just south of DeQueen, in the southwest corner over here. And Dr. Cole and the school has taken the old Locksburg Elementary, High School, and Gymnasium and completely refurbished it. And it's a beautiful facility now from what it was. And this is a picture of the the old elementary school and the old elementary library, which is going to be our physical lab. And it's under construction right now and planned to be finished here within the next week or so. We'll have equipment, 2 racks of equipment in there, a DC power plant, so that we can simulate what to expect out in the real world once they get on site. The timeline right now, the first class starts Monday, April 14th, runs for 15 weeks, Monday through Thursday, 7.5 hours a day, 8 to 4:30, for a total of 450 hours. And then we're looking at scheduling another class in August and finish up in the November, December timeframe. And then we're looking at having spring and fall classes in the upcoming years. What the job opportunities are for these students and graduates of this program is getting into a full-time position as an entry-level network engineer that's around $50,000 a year. They can take a technical engineering path, they can take an operations path, a management path in supervision and managing engineers and operations of the broadband industry with any of the providers. If the students want to go on and get their bachelor's degree, looking at getting them into a paid internship while they're working on that degree, as well as in vendors. I've had several vendors saying, I'd like to hire some of these students to be technical sales support, because once they understand the foundation of the fiber to the home environment, they can help go out and sell it and support it from a technical aspect. Prerequisites: minimum age 18, valid driver's license, and basic computer skills. I think, we're just opening this up to a new demographic that may not have other opportunities to go get into a career like this. And it's exciting because the response has been overwhelming at this point. We don't require any background check or drug screening, but we are making everyone aware that on placement, they will be more than likely subject to those 2 activities. The course overview, just to give you an idea of what we're talking about. We're going to start out talking about office and remote work environments, getting them familiar. Some of these are brand new, green to the workforce, have no clue. They've never been in an actual workforce. So we're going to introduce them to that workforce, what's expected in those, teach them things to be aware of when working remote, because these are the type of folks that aren't just 8 to 5. They may get a call in the middle of the night or on the weekend, and they have to go to work solving a problem. So being aware of that remote environment, kind of a hybrid employee, they're going to get a really good understanding of the fiber to the home terminology, the architecture, the operations. We're going to help them understand the outside plant networking concepts. And yes, they're going to get into IPv4 and IPv6 addressing and subnetting. And we're going to get down to the binary hexadecimal math and how to manage those address ranges, going through the OSI model, prepping the resumes and cover letters, preparing them for the workforce, possibly even do some mock interviews to get them a little bit of experience in what to expect. And we're going to have a lot of labs, virtual and hands-on, lots of labs. And in the certification test in the last couple of weeks of the program, the students are going to get to go through similar scenarios of what to expect in the certification test so that they're prepared when they take that test. They'll know what to expect and they can self-evaluate as they go through that prep work to get their certifications. And we require one, but these students have a chance to get multiple certifications as they go through this program, absolutely free of cost, thanks to the partnerships that have joined us in this endeavor. So our lab, we are going to have two racks of equipment. The first rack's already completely populated. More equipment's coming in, being donated by partners that have said, I've got extra equipment, I'd love to give it to you. And it's been awesome. So we're going to end up with 2 full racks of equipment. Thanks to Calix, Juniper, and Hubble, we have access to their online education and virtual labs right now, and others are are partnering with us. We haven't got them set up yet, but there'll be more opportunities for online education here in the near future. Next steps is just promoting the program, getting the word out, looking at collaborative opportunities. And then what I'm looking for from employers are hiring these graduates, because they're going to be able, I come from the industry and I know how hard it is to find people with a foundation that can hit the ground running. We always had to find somebody that had the skill sets and then spend time training them. And so they weren't real productive for the first couple months or so. And these folks are going to be familiar with the environment, the tools it takes to manage it, and they're going to be able to add value right away. And then program dream team participation. Our program dream team started out with a few employers that wanted to help us and partner with us. And today, these are the ones that have signed up with us, just verbally validating the program. We want to make sure the material is relevant to the industry, that we're teaching the right thing, we're covering the right subject, we're preparing them for the workforce. Some of them have donated equipment, some of them have donated educational resources. It just varies. But just being part of the dream team is just being there to give us feedback that we are doing the right thing and teaching the right stuff. So we've had a lot of conversations over the last year with a lot of these folks. So I'm excited about that. And this team continues to grow. I expect this is probably double in logos here within this first class. I'm gonna give you my information. These students, some of them, this is brand new, but what an opportunity for them. This is an endeavor thanks to Glenn and the Office of Skill Development, Department of Commerce, Dr. Cole, and everybody else that has seen the need for this, because as much fiber has been built out, we got to have people that can operate those and maintain those services on this fiber. And it's just an opportunity. I hope that this grows once we get through this pilot program and we cover everything that they need to understand and know. It's going to be a great opportunity for them to get into this broadband industry and go make a difference in our state and our rural communities for sure. So, Cam, that's what I've got. I'd entertain any questions, or you guys can reach out to me either email or give me a call on my mobile phone. You can get more information about the program if you look down there at the bottom. ccua.edu is our website for the university. Go under the community workforce, then continuing education, scroll down to the fiber network engineering new section. There's information on it. There's a video Dr. Cole and I put together about the program. You can go down and watch. So I'd love anybody else that wants to get involved with us on this. It would be a great opportunity to reach out and get more information about it.
Thank you, Marty and Dr. Cole. Marty, real quick, do you want to touch on sort of the need for this particular program, right? Because AFA started with sort of the 3 base programs right around the state, and then Hope, Texarkana added a 4th, and now this is going to be the 5th. Let's talk about sort of the need for this particular skill set within the broader provider community.
Absolutely. And I've talked to several of the broadband providers, with the electric cooperatives and the telephone co-ops and others. And when they are looking for skill sets to come to rural locations in Arkansas, it's very difficult to get qualified individuals for that. This program is preparing those individuals, the students, to apply for those jobs and have the skill sets to go do it. They may not have the bachelor's degree yet, but they're going to have hands-on trained experience with industry recognized certifications that they can go out and make a difference. And this is a skill set that doesn't exist right now. We have to find people who are familiar with network engineering, but they don't understand all the terminology of fiber to the home. They don't understand, what it takes to get the broadband services to the end user. And multiple, they may have one or two candidates that are somewhat qualified but not completely qualified, and then they have to go spend time training them, getting them certified. And that's just time and money that employers have to go spend to do that. We're jump starting that process by giving these folks this 15 weeks of experience they couldn't get anywhere else. And it's exciting. I'm looking forward, and I hope we have 100% placement of all 10 students out of this first class.
Thank you, Marty. Dr. Cole, any follow-ups before we go to Q&A from the folks?
Yep. And thanks, Glenn. And it's kind of cool. Marty and I met with Glenn, right? I mean, when we first had this idea, we said, hey, we need to meet with you because we were excited about it. And here it is finally coming to fruition. But here's our thought process is, the more that, obviously the BEAD funding's flowing now, you're starting to see a lot more activity around the state. It had slowed, because of the BEAD funding, but now here we go. And so, this skill set, when we talked, and this isn't a me or Marty thing, like he said, this is the employers. This is the people, boots on the ground, saying, this is what we need. We need this person that can do this. And so that's the whole reason for this, this program to be, come to being. And so saying that, here's what we would hope can happen. Once we start down the road and once we start training these folks, and once we, because we're still considering this a pilot program, we're going to work out the kinks. We're gonna, we'll have to change some curriculum here and there to meet needs. And so as we go through this, and once this gets refined, what we would hope next year or whenever is that, okay, so we're taking care of Southwest Arkansas. We can handle that load. Okay, now let's populate. Let's take this program. It's portable. Let's take this program to Northeast Arkansas and let's help that area, right? And so we see this as being a regional concept in time, once we work out all the kinks, and we're excited about that because now we can blanket Arkansas with the training we need. So that's kind of the thought behind this program.
Yeah, and I'll add on too, Glenn. We've already had interest outside of the state of Arkansas and other states that are wanting to implement a very similar program as well. They see the need too. And we're saying, hold on, let us get this pilot done. Let us get it kind of polished. And then let's have conversations.
No, that's fantastic. And look, I remember the conversation we had on this. It feels like forever ago now, but we finally, we've gotten this far, and we don't let one declined opportunity from one federal agency keep us from doing what needs to be done. So I'm glad to see that we are getting closer. So what we'll do, team, we will look at the chat box. So if you have a question, please put it into the chat box, or just raise your hand and we'll come to you. And so put your hand up if you want. We can come off of mute for that. We'll check the chat box first, and it could be questions related to this particular program or anything that we mentioned in the call, right? So it could be BEAD related or how the grants are going, that kind of stuff. And we'll take a look and see what we have. So Hunter started out asking questions around sort of the recruitment process as far as, the region versus the state. But I think, Marty, the way you described it there, and Dr. Cole, the way you described it as far as piloting, so we're working out the kinks a little bit and then looking to scale to other regions, help to answer that question. Let's see. So Santi, interesting question here. So any similar programs in East or Southeast Arkansas? And look, I think this is the first one to tackle it, but Marty, take the question.
No, there aren't any other similar programs right now, and that's what we're trying to do. Get this one refined now, and then as Dr. Cole said, looking at getting it spread out geographically where it makes sense to cover those other areas in Arkansas. We can handle Southwest. We've spent a lot of time with the high schools, students, in preparing them for careers, getting them thinking about it, talking to them about these opportunities, thinking about the return on investment between their time invested and the costs, and how quickly they can get into a career and even go on and get advanced degrees. But yes, I'm hopeful that we can get this expanded across the state here within the next few years.
And Glenn, if I may, it doesn't really address that, but it came to mind. All of these discussions that we've had over the past year and a half, and then to see with the legislature right now what we have going on around the state with the governor's workforce plan. I mean, I just say, and I've been doing this. I've been at UA CASA almost 30 years. I've been chancellor for 16. And it's something that in our state we've always tried to find the answer to is workforce. Well, now, and I said this in Morrilton a couple of weeks ago. We had a workforce summit there. And I said this, that, okay, for the first time that I can remember, we have all of these different entities in alignment from the governor's office on down. And this is the type of program, and these are the type of programs that statewide, I think this has always been the model. And I've said that for years. Okay, now we have this short-term, non-credit workforce program. And through some real creative funding with the state, it's free. Now, they will not always be free, but this one is. And it's totally led by industry. You know, they get in, they get their education, they go to work, they get a good job, and we're supporting industry. That's the whole model. And I just think it's really cool that this falls right in line with everything the University of Arkansas is doing, the legislature is doing, and the governor's office. And it fits. And you know what I think where we're headed with this, just my thoughts, is that okay, this program is going to be able to serve a geographic area. Well, now, you know, this program is not going to be able to serve Monticello, but let's recreate that. Once we work all this out next year, let's recreate this down in Monticello or across it and take care of that part of the state. And then let's put one of these in Little Rock. Let's take care of the Central Arkansas, Northwest, Northeast. And I think 4 or 5 of these strategically placed programs will be very helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Before we go back to the chat, looks like Mark, you have your hand up. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning. This is fantastic and so exciting to hear. I'm with Communities Unlimited, just a nonprofit group that's kind of observing and supporting, but from that rural community side of things. And I think I just encourage. I think the pilot project makes a lot of sense, but given listening to Glenn's conversation on the infrastructure earlier this morning, and how their hope is to award BEAD funding, that's going to be a lot of fiber by midsummer of this year. I'd just encourage if there's any way to be queuing up those industry partners that have demand and interest in those locations, maybe in Northeast Arkansas, Southeast Arkansas, have conversations with folks in Pine Bluff area as well. That maybe if those could have a go for fall of this year, as opposed to a year from now, I think there's going to be demand for those folks. And Marty, I just affirm too that idea of being able to hire people that live in those communities and want to stay in those parts of the state is a really good model versus trying to hire people from the city and relocate them places. Like helping people have good jobs where they are is fantastic. So well done. Keep going. And I don't have any power here, but I want to green light you to move forward already. Keep going.
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. Thanks, Mark, for that. Good to see you this morning. Let's see. So in the chat, so Keith had a question. Let's see. Related to BEAD, grant funding, are bonds or irrevocable letters of credit being required to guarantee job completion? If so, any insight into the bond letter of credit requirement? Yeah, Keith, great question. In the BEAD program, at least as of today, irrevocable standby letters of credit and or bond performance bonds are required as part of the BEAD program. The way that Arkansas has structured it, it is a 10% requirement of the grant award. So whatever the total grant award is for a particular provider and their projects, they are required to secure through either an irrevocable standby letter of credit or performance bond 10% of that amount to guarantee work. And so with that, sort of any additional insight, let me bring up real quick the state office's website. We have a dedicated BEAD webpage that has all sorts of resources and stuff for folks. Let me share that real quick. So what I've got here on the right-hand side, it's the state office's website. So broadband.arkansas.gov, right? Very easy. We have a dedicated BEAD page here. You click that, and if you scroll down just a little bit, this is very kind of ISP heavy information, but if you scroll down, we have some resources, right? One of which programmatic supplemental guidance, and we have a document actually that talks about the fixed amount subaward, what that looks like as far as contractually, and also covers letters of credit and performance bonds. So just one piece of resources available for folks, all on our BEAD webpage. Again, broadband.arkansas.gov, and then BEAD, and that'll take you right to the page for that. Let's see, Sansi. So quick follow-up with partnerships with other technical colleges or educational institutions help facilitate the scale or expansion into other areas of the state. Dr. Cole or Marty?
Yeah, I can speak to that. I mean, that would be the plan. Again, and I know that there is a need, or we wouldn't have created this. And and we all work closely with our friends, all the other 2-year colleges, and we do a lot of collaborations, and I think that will be part of the plan as we move forward to scale this out. But just me speaking candidly, though, that we just want to make sure, and I think the state would want to make sure. Okay, you don't want unless the demand is there, you wouldn't want 10 of these programs in the state trying to fund them in Little Rock, right? I mean, you just wouldn't want that. But if there's demand, sure. But we are absolutely willing and able to share this with anybody. Again, we're going to let Marty work the kinks out, because there's some unknowns here, but let's at least get that done, because we just don't want to put this out there. It's like, oh man, that's not what we need. We need this thing. And so give us a class or two. They're 15-week classes. We start our first one April 14th. We'll have another one in August, and by then we should have a very clear picture of kind of the do's and don'ts, and hopefully we are able to partner with whoever wants to partner and get it out there. But I know, Glenn, I think you would agree that we just don't want duplication of effort, and I know the state's been real big about that. Is let's not plop 2 of these and Stuttgart, just coming up with just a name there, but things like that. So.
Yeah, no, absolutely, Doctor. You're correct. I think letting this one get off the ground, working out the kinks, and then scaling appropriately, right, makes sense. And so, yeah, absolutely hope that this program is able to, at least regionally would make sense if the demand's there. But we got to get there, right? And this is the first step, and we are excited about it. Tom asked, any update on the process or expected timing for BEAD non-deployment applications? Yeah, great question, Tom. For context for folks, the way that the program is currently structured, we have $1 billion with a B, a big number, $1 billion to award these infrastructure grants across the state to cover the 84,000 homes and businesses that need internet access today. If we do that process and we have money remaining, still available after we've awarded those grants, at least as it currently stands today, we have an opportunity to do some internet-related projects with those dollars. And so, Tom, in short, answer to your question about process and timing, the administration is currently working through the priority target areas that we want to try to attack with those funds. We should have more information on that probably in the next few weeks, we think, as far as specific targets and priority areas and what that looks like, and then we'll have more information for folks on that. Cam linked to the Arkansas Fiber Academy programs. And so if you go to that page, they linked for you there, which will be in our notes as well in the email communication following this call. There's a link that is, shows all the available programs around the state as a part of the Arkansas Fiber Academy. Let's see, Jeff had, so if someone has completed the fiber optic technician program at UA Hope Texarkana, will there be less time needed to complete the fiber network engineer program? That's a really interesting question, Jeff. Marty or Dr. Cole?
Yeah, I'll talk to that. I've been visiting with the instructor down there, and they're more focused on the outside plant than they are on the engineering. So they're getting it ready for these guys to operate, these students here to light the services. So they're complementary. This is just the next step, as Dr. Cole said, take it to the next level of the people who actually operate the fiber that's being installed today. So yeah, it's this is the first of hands-on network operations support and troubleshooting of the physical plant, which most of the other programs are focused on.
Yeah, so it feels like almost you could have someone perhaps even go through both, and they would have more skills. They could do multiple things, right? Perhaps.
Absolutely, because to operate it, you've got to understand the outside plant. If they go through that, because when you're troubleshooting it, you got to be thinking, strategic thinking. What's the problem? Do I need to dispatch somebody? Who do I need to dispatch? Is it home installers? Is it a field tech to go repair a broken fiber or drop fiber somewhere? Evaluating all that, it would make students even more qualified to go through both programs. Absolutely.
Yep. Really great question. Really great question there, Jeff. All right. We'll give it just another minute or two, in case anyone's typing out a long one, and we'll sit tight for just a second. Okay. Yeah, got one. So follow up on performance bond questions. So back to more of the BEAD stuff. Specifically, are there any specific required bond forms for the guarantee of these jobs? Yeah, Keith, we have templates available for that. It should be on our page as well in the resources area. So if you can't find that, please email us. We can get that over to you. It's broadband@arkansas.gov is our email address, broadband@arkansas.gov. We'll put it in the chat box real quick. This is our generic email address for folks. Please send over any questions that you may have there. And also, look, the surety companies, they know what they're doing, right? So they'll be able to help you with that. All right, we'll give it just a second longer. Yep, okay. Hey, Hunter, let's see. Is there a specific time window for the digital skills opportunity and device funding? This has been addressed, but I want to ensure I'm hearing correctly. Time window. Yeah, Hunter, why don't you come off of mute real quick and expand there for me?
Glad I have the flu, so I sound pretty rough.
Oh, okay. Sorry for prompting you then. Yeah, apologize.
Hello, friends. So what I'm hearing is continued anticipation in the coming weeks of that, and no specific time window yet on that next round of funding. Is that correct?
Yeah. So thanks, Hunter. And again, I hope you feel better. Get some good soup and stay low. Drink fluids. Yeah, sort of the comment from earlier was more around the non-deployment side of things, and so that's, remember, we have two buckets of funding. We have the potential non-deployment side, that's excess remaining after we've done our infrastructure grant awards, which is separate from the funding that we have for digital skills and devices across the state. We met with procurement folks this week, actually, to help try to move along the RFPs for skills and devices. We think we're getting closer. Sometimes the wheels of government can run a little slow, but we're getting closer, moving it along, trying to accelerate that. And so I know it's sort of a broken record at this point. They haven't gone anywhere. They haven't disappeared. We're still pushing them forward. And so we're trying to move that along as quickly as we can. Great questions today. Great questions. All right, we'll give it just a second longer. All right. I want to thank Dr. Cole and Marty for joining us today and giving us a great update on what is now the 5th program in the Arkansas Fiber Academy. Again, reminding folks this is tuition-free stuff across all the programs. Let's take advantage of it. Let's get people there. Let's fill those seats. Let's get them to work. We want Arkansas folks to get paid Arkansas dollars for Arkansas work and keep the economy growing here and improving lives. So let's make that our mission. Everyone can look forward to the follow-up communication after the call, and we will see everyone in 2 weeks. Thank you.